This video is going to run over how to live stream for business, events and webinars. It will talk you through some kit options as well as software and the options you have on different platforms. Due to the number of things you can do live, it means there are a mountain of options and tech issues to deal with. If you're new to streaming, it's incredibly confusing in the beginning. So the first place to start is with your goals. By the way, I've made a whole video about the tech options. I'm not going to touch on that in much detail because you need to work out how to achieve your stream goals and get some of the platforms before you start working out the camera tech and add to the confusion. So let's start with the most important thing. Here's some examples of what I mean. I want to have as many people turn up as possible, but I don't want interaction. I want as many people as possible and I want typed chat interaction. I want as many people as possible, but I want face-to-face talking interaction. I only want people I invite to be able to see my stream. I want only people who have paid to come to my stream. I want only people who have paid to come. Then I want to sell it after as a video. I want to interview guests from around the world to a large audience. You can see where I'm going. A paid audience or a closed free audience. There's more options with streaming than the food menu at a cheap Irish pub in the Costa del Sol, which is why you're probably full of fear when you look into it. Or you might want a mixture of all of the above things I just mentioned. It's all possible in the streaming world. So that is the most important thing to get down first. Once you know that, you'll be in a better position to establish the software you need to do it. Okay, hopefully you're still with me. 2, platform. So next we need to look at your platform. Now this is going to turn into a bit of a list video, but I think it's kind of what the world needs right now. If you want to do a public live stream for free to anyone to watch, or you want to close off your live stream and you don't want to spend any money, then YouTube is the best option. And to be fair to it, I've never had any quality issues. My Zoom drops out at random. My live streams on YouTube have never glitched. So then you can also embed the live video onto a landing page, make it unlisted, so only people who have the link to the video can see it, or just leave it wide open and drive people to it. The benefit of this is that the live saves as a video after, and you have the chat box you can use to answer questions and have some sort of interaction. The downside is the latency. You can turn this up or down, but I tend to find what my viewer sees is about 45 seconds behind what I'm actually saying. So for question and answers, it's not the best if you need quick fire engagement. If you want to easily live stream to your social platforms on YouTube, then here's some options to check out. OBS, now this is free but a little bit complicated. Restream, you have a free and paid option, very easy to use. StreamYard or Ecamm. I've made a video going into more detail on these on our channel. So these systems allow you to customize your stream, which I'll go into more detail soon, as well as broadcast to YouTube or Facebook or Periscope or wherever from your desktop. You can also broadcast your stream to multiple platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and a host of others at the same time quite easily for free using Restream. If you want to live stream to Instagram, you can, but it's very complicated from a desktop and can get you banned. So your only real option is to do it from your phone. So what about if you only want a select bunch of people to see your live stream and you need more security than an unlisted video? Well, there are tons of ways to do this, but to keep it simple, you've got a few options. Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and Zoom, probably the ones that you've heard of. So these are good for streaming to enclosed groups from 2 to, well, hundreds of people chatting. You need to pay for the upgraded versions to do large webinars or live events. The big difference here is these are video platforms, not social platforms. What you have is platforms like YouTube and Facebook where you can broadcast live to a following, or video conferencing where it's more designed to be enclosed, and then other software which enables you to broadcast to places like Facebook and YouTube or Zoom too that are crucial for social platforms but tricky to set up for the video conferencing. So streaming live to Facebook or YouTube is distribution too. Of course, you'll need to promote the events, but to broadcast your Zoom to other channels takes more work. I'm not going to go into that setup right now, as this is just a taster and an overview. So now we move on to setting up streams with multiple participants. So the next thing you might be considering is putting on a live where more than one person is presenting. This is where it can get really complicated. So a free option is to hook up Skype to OBS. I've made a whole video to teach you how to do this on your channel. This can then broadcast an interview live to YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, LinkedIn, and so on. You'll have a lot of customization ability with OBS to do this. All your guest needs is Skype. They call in and away they go. You can chat anywhere around the world. If you're hosting a closed live on the video conferencing option like Zoom, you can have different people take the mic very easily and have lots of interaction from the audience, a panel or people talking and more. There is another option here which you might be considering, and that is if you want to broadcast 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 people on a panel to YouTube or Facebook, LinkedIn, or all of the above. Doing this with Zoom or Teams or the video conferencing software is a bit of a nightmare. Unless you really need the interaction with the audience, then you should really consider StreamYard. And StreamYard is a paid platform. Restream has a free option where you can go and do group chats, but the customization requires upgrading. These are the easiest options I've ever come across for doing live events where you have multiple participants. Sure, you'll lose the ability to have 100 people being able to wave at you or talk back to you, but that has its own issues. You can have up to 10 people on camera on StreamYard, and you can broadcast this to all of the big platforms, 8 at once. So if you're a business and you want to broadcast a multi-person interview to a closed or open audience, I wouldn't look any further. Both of these allow you to display people's comments on the live videos too on the screen, which is pretty cool. So that's a whistle-stop tour of how to do what. Of course, there are tons of ways to do things, but now we move on to customization and kit. For both of these, I'd recommend getting to terms with your platforms of choice before you start adding a new layer of creativity. Practice with your old boring webcam and computer mic and get used to the features. Broadcast to a group of friends or nobody at all on YouTube and just test it all out. The thing about going live is there are tons of places to make mistakes. In your practice, you'll need to discover them. I'm still making them, and I've produced over 100 lives over the last 6 months. When you think you've got the hang of it, you might want to add in some overlays. These are little graphics, name badges, branded templates, logos, or even videos. They just make your production look that little bit slicker. So a quick fire rundown of this. If you want to make a good looking, free to watch stream, or a stream that is unlisted and accessible via a link, OBS and YouTube is a good combo, or Ecamm for Mac users. Ecamm gives you these cool chat head pop-ups too. But you'd need to use Restream to send your stream to multiple platforms if that's what you're after. An easy paid option to stream to multiple platforms, interview multiple guests, and add chat pop-ups, graphics, and video is StreamYard, and again, Restream. When it comes to Zoom, these overlays are a real pain. You need to hook it up to external software such as OBS, and let me tell you, that's a workaround I've hit. As with the overlays, if you're new, don't bog yourself down with lighting, digital cameras, and fancy mics to start. Now, I've made a video that goes into way more detail on this on a YouTube channel. Practice with the basics, then the first thing to upgrade is your mic. If you have Apple AirPods, they actually work quite well as mics to start off with, so give them a shot. Then either get an HD webcam or a mirrorless or DSLR, but you'll need to learn how to use those, which if you've not used one before means another learning curve. Tidy up your studio and add some lights. And finally, we have the internet. So you need fast upload speeds for streaming. Make sure nobody's downloading or uploading when you go live, as this will eat up your bandwidth and make things go really rubbish. I'd recommend hooking your computer to your Wi-Fi router via an Ethernet cable to make sure your connection's the most fastest and most stable it can be. So I hope that helped take away some confusion, not add to it. I'm not a fan of these closed platforms like Zoom. I just seem to have way more connectivity issues with them. Maybe it's just me, but after hosting live classes and webinars on it and having lag and signal drop every time compared to YouTube where it just never happens, I think I know which ones I prefer. If you have any questions about live streaming, feel free to ask below. Otherwise, check out this video about production kit or this one here, which goes into more detail on the software mentioned, and subscribe to our channel as we release 3 videos a week about video marketing, production, YouTube, and live streaming now because everyone wants it, apparently. Didn't used to do that.